Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, and Mr. Manager. For the record, I'm Charles Moore, Fire Chief for Truckee Meadows Fire District. Yesterday, the Board of Fire Commissioners asked me to come address you regarding mutual aid. They've made some revisions to the agreement. I think we understand how the city feels about automatic aid, that we not use the mutual aid agreement in a way that it looks like mutual aid, but we use it as an automatic aid agreement. That is not our intent. So we've made some revisions to the agreement that hopefully would address your concerns in that way, and if further refinements need to be made to that, we'd certainly would be agreeable to that. But I wanted to state specifically that just as Chief Hernandez said, that we would call mutual aid if our total resources were exceeded. Two other revisions to the agreement. We have no issue with adding Sierra Fire, which was a condition of your legal counsel to us. We will agree to that. The issue of 3 hours, we've asked if council would consider 12 hours because for no other reason that seems to be the community standard between all of the regional partners that share mutual aid. And then finally, the issue of having a chief officer on the scene before mutual aid is called. That one seems to be impractical from the standpoint that there could be all types of calls where you wouldn't necessarily have a chief officer available. Say dry lightning comes through the area and starts 12 fires all at once. 12 fires all at once may exceed the capability of any fire department, including Reno, including us, including Sparks. So for that reason, we would ask that that be deleted and not a consideration in the agreement.
Okay. Questions right now? Yes, sir.
Chief Hernandez, could you put that map back up? And oh, she's not here to show that. I want to, before we look at mutual aid, I want to know what we're mutually aiding each other, because on this map it shows Station 35 in Verdi. Chief Moore, I was going to ask you the questions from this. Is Station 35 at Verdi going to remain there?
Councilman, no, we have purchased a lot at 4th Avenue, and I'm not sure what exit. So we're going to move it 2 miles to the east. And the reason why we're going to do that is so that we can serve Verdi and our portion of Collin Ranch within an 8-minute response time.
And how many people will be staffed? Well, in 35, how many people do you have there now on a daily basis?
3.
At one time, 3? And then in the Hidden Valley area, it doesn't show anything on this map for Hidden Valley for your district. What are you going to do in Hidden Valley?
We're building a fire station in Hidden Valley next to the truck bay that exists there, and I'm sorry I don't have the address
It's okay.
in my
Just
head.
in
but
that
it's,
area, that's fine.
It's in that area.
And how many are going to be stationed there?
There'll be 2 there stationed with the rescue.
2 professional or volunteers?
Professional.
So the question that I have is on mutual aid is only if our total resources are exceeded. What happens if there's a house fire at Hidden Valley? You respond with your 2 personnel. Obviously, by the rules, you cannot go inside and fight the fire, correct?
Depends.
On if there's someone inside.
Yes.
Let's say no one's inside. Is your first reaction to call someone from Arrow Creek or someone from what would be your response to that if they need help fighting the fire? Who would you call?
In Hidden Valley, I believe our run string, of course, is Hidden Valley first, staffed by, supplemented by 14 at Walmart on Damani Ranch Parkway.
And how many are there at 14?
There's 3.
3.
And then Arrow Creek will also respond.
And how many are there?
There's 3 there.
Okay.
We'll get a battalion chief, division chief, or me, so 2 chiefs will be responding.
So before you ask for help from Reno, which is half a mile away, you're going to call from Station 14 and Station 36?
On the initial dispatch, yes. Yes, and they'll arrive and we'll start combating the fire.
So you won't be able to go inside and fight that fire at all? Because what I'm getting to is, I think on your very first fire in Hidden Valley, your total resources have been exceeded.
Well, I guess there's 2 ways you could define that: total resources of the entire department or total resources of the initial response.
That's sort of what I'm getting to.
Our intent is that if the total resources of the department are exceeded, we would call mutual aid.
So you wouldn't call it if just the total resources of that call are exceeded? Because I can't see you getting 4 people on that fire within 30 minutes.
I disagree. Respectfully disagree.
Well,
I think
what's
we
the runtime from Station 14 to Hidden Valley?
Not in my head, but it's probably around 12 minutes.
So after the two people go there, because they're not going to get called until, will they get called right away when there's a house fire in Hidden Valley?
Yes.
Right away. 14's going,
36 is going, 14 is going, 37 is going.
okay? You sort of, so all of them are going with one house fire in Hidden Valley. Who's covering Arrow Creek?
We'll slide down Station 39 at Joy Lake to cover Arrow Creek
Right at the same time.
at the same time.
Have you had many calls in the 11 days where you've brought down people from Incline Village?
Us, no.
You've never had any
except-
engines coming from Incline Village?
With the exception of the Palomino Valley fire, I believe we had a breast engine from North Lake Tahoe respond to that.
And the same thing I would assume would happen at Collin Ranch. You can't go in and fight a house fire. You'd have to call from Arrow Creek, you'd have to call from who else? To fight a fire in Collin Ranch.
Collin Ranch is Station 35, Station 14, Station 36, and
So the same
our
people would be
volunteer
going there.
resources.
So how many fires would there have to be before you have no resources whatsoever anymore? Looks like 2 to me. Hidden Valley and Collin Ranch.
Well, we still have our resources on the north side, so, I guess this is, you don't totally contemplate every move on the chess piece when you have a mutual aid request. So I might have 2 simultaneous fires in the south. I might have one in the south and one in the north,
So how many fires can you fight at one time?
probably 2.
And have you had more than 2 fires yet in 11 days?
Well, we've had about 18 brush fires so far, and we've handled them all ourselves. Although Chief Hernandez did offer his help on Ironwood, which we didn't need. So thanks, Chief, by the way.
And you stated that it's unworkable having someone on the scene first.
No.
That's what the quote in the paper says, this will not work.
Well, I didn't write the story,
I
Councilman.
know, that's why I'm asking you, because we all face the same thing.
It's impractical to have a chief officer at 2 simultaneous fires.
So how would it work then? You understand that we don't want this to turn into automatic aid. Would it not turn into automatic aid? Because it seems to me, I'm just being blunt, you guys don't have the resources to cover the fires you have. You cannot fight a house fire. In fact, you just told me that it would take you more than 12 minutes to be able to go in and fight a house fire at Hidden Valley. How long does it take a house fire to spread to engulf the whole house?
Every fire is different.
What's an average?
Flashover might occur between, say, around 10 minutes or so.
So the flashover
On
has
average.
normally occurred before you guys could even fight the fire. So what I'm trying to get to is, where's the mutual aid here? It's going to have to be, for us to live here and be sitting up here and being able to help and being only a small amount away, and you don't call us because it's not you that did it, I understand that. But how is it mutual when, what resources can you give on the other side? I mean, because you could make the case, if we have a fire over there by Hidden Valley, say, we need your help, you could say, I don't have any resources because my area would be open, so you don't have any resources to help us. I honestly, I understand that. What resources do you have to provide us on the other side?
Well, it depends on what kind of situation you have to call us. It may be a high-rise fire, in which case...
Any fire.
I don't know.
I'm talking about any fire.
What resources do we have to help you?
Yes.
Well, we have 107 full-time firefighters plus 120 volunteer firefighters.
How many are on staff at any one time?
A third of that, of the career,
So 30.
30 to 33.
I think you know what I'm getting to. I just don't believe that you guys have the resources, because if I was in charge of that fire department, I wouldn't let my people go from Hidden Valley, the 2 people there, to go backfill Reno or help Reno out, because then it leaves a whole chunk of I don't have the resources, because that's also a legitimate call to say, this is why we can't help you, because we don't have the resources. We can't say, geez, you've got 35 people, send us some. You have to make the call and say, we don't have the people in that area to help you because we'll leave our place blank. You don't have any capabilities to backfill, do you?
Sure we do. We have backfill from volunteers, and we call our off-duty staff to backfill. Or we'll call our mutual aid partners of North Lake Tahoe, Carson City on the south, Sparks, as well as the tribe resources.
Have you been on status zero at all yet?
No,
Not,
if I understand what that
not
is.
in the 11.
So let me just see if I can articulate what we did on the Ironwood fire, because that was an all-hands-on-deck fire for us. We had, as Chief Hernandez said, we had approximately 6 resources at the Pine Haven fire, and I was standing right next to Chief Hernandez when we got the tones for Ironwood. So Chief Hernandez told me, yes, we'll release your resources. They started down the hill. We were also responding everything else that we had towards that way. We called for backfill. We mobilized our volunteer stations, and they got in service pretty quick. And obviously, when we got to the scene of Ironwood, that 600 acres is more than just about any fire department could handle, including Pine Haven for the city of Reno. So handling a 640-acre fire, I would argue, is beyond our capability. We called mutual aid from our partners in Story County, North Lyon, Central Lyon. We called for help with North Lake Tahoe, Carson City, NDF, BLM, and everybody came to help. We didn't call Reno simply because you're busy with your own fire. And so it was intuitive not to call the city of Reno for mutual aid because you're busy with your own major call. So that is an example, as clear as I can in real time in a real case, where we would call mutual aid. 640 acres, something large like that is when we need help.
I understand that's a sexy thing for people to talk about, the big fires. And I know that the big fires, everyone will come running. My concern is the small fires. You get one fire in Hidden Valley, you cannot fight another fire over there, and you can't even get resources there within 12 minutes. And you think you have enough resources to help us when we have a fire, or that we should, I just don't understand why this is a one-way proposition, and why you can't have, if those people can get there, why wouldn't we wait for them to be on scene and say, we need some help, we can get there closer than 12 minutes.
Well, then perhaps we add additional clarification to the contract that says our resources have to be exhausted. I'm fine with that.
Well, you've told me already there's 2 definitions of resources. What definition would you use? Your total resource of you can wait and call people from Incline Village, or your resources in that general area?
You know, I think it depends on the fire. I mean, when I see a fire that exceeds my capability to respond to that and control it.
Perfect.
And
You just
control.
answered my question. When you see a fire, that's all we're asking. When you see the fire, you make the call.
Well,
Not
say-
just because you think it might be out of your control, and right at dispatch you call and say, we know we can't get to this. Or when there's a fire in Hidden Valley, it's automatically Reno should go there, because you cannot fight a house fire in Hidden Valley within 12 minutes.
I'm not trying to be argumentative,
No.
but let's use the example of the air race crash. Do I have to see that there's 70 people lying on the ground?
I don't think
before
I
I
need
call
to
that?
see the bigger examples when everyone did work well together. It's the smaller ones that are going to hurt people, in my opinion. It's, you have someone with a heart attack down, you can't fight the fire if it comes in next. It's not just fire, it's medical too. So you have your 2 people off on any medical call in Collin Ranch or in Hidden Valley. You have no resources to fight a fire. So your depth of resources, and this is where you guys just refuse to tell the public, you have none.
I respectfully disagree. Our
Then
depth of
then how would you fight a fire within 12 minutes in Hidden Valley? Can you go into the house and fight the fire if there's no one at home?
I understood your question, Councilman.
And what's
is
the answer? Yes or no?
What is the depth of resource? The depth of resource is the question that he asked me, so respectfully, may I answer that?
You may.
Our depth of resources are in off-duty people and in volunteers, which we mobilize.
And what's the time frame for them to get there?
It depends.
So one of my original questions, house fire in Hidden Valley, no one's home. How long can you go until you can go inside and fight that fire?
On the arrival of the second unit, which is going to be about 10 to 12 minutes.
And what, according to your own studies, that wasn't the Diamante study, I don't think it was the Diamante study. What did the county adopt as to an appropriate response in that area? Wasn't it 8-minute response time?
I believe so.
So you're not meeting your own response times in that area. And the same would occur at Collin Ranch, correct?
We are going to meet that response time. We'll be there within 8 minutes.
In
So
Hidden
that is the
Valley and in
standard
Collin Ranch?
to arrive at 8 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. When we move the station. We can't do it from Verdi.
No, but you can only arrive with 3 people. You still cannot go inside the building. That's
Yes.
what I mean. You cannot go inside the building,
In certain cases, we can, Councilman.
most cases.
In some cases. If we know that somebody needs rescue, we're allowed to enter, and we will.
Right, that's the only time, and if that happens. And quite honestly, our police department usually rescues the people before the fire department arrives.
Arguably, I know that it's also possible to fight fires from the outside, which is going to be our strategy. Good,
Okay.
bad, or indifferent.
I just want the public to know that.
That's fine.
Because I think that the county, and you to a certain extent in your statements, have been telling them that you guys have the largest firefighting staff on the West Coast or something. And it's blatantly false, and you guys cannot fight a fire in a legitimate way. Just by saying one person can show up, you can fight a fire as equally as 4 people showing up is just not true. And you guys have been leading the public on this thing and then saying that we're the ones who have to give you mutual aid, when in all reality, we're the ones that are going to have to protect you. And I don't mind doing it. I just like you guys to say it's true.